Last video on the Jeep, I was hunting down a odor of gas and found that it was the oil bath canister that I just simply didn't have oil in it, and that was because I had done weld repair on it and wanted to give it time to dry before I put any oil in it, so I just kind of neglected that. Anyhow, one of the other things that I mentioned in that video, I wanted to order a few parts for some things to fix, so got a couple of those parts in. One of them is going to be the new fuel sending unit. Got a new cork gasket as well. And then I also got the rebuild. The box is a little torn up here. That would be for the bell crank. So not sure if we're going to get to that in this particular video. What I'm going to do is I'm going to test this before putting in the Jeep. I want to do an ohms test on it, so we're going to do that first. To test this unit, we're going to go ahead and use our multimeter, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it to ohms, and I'm going to put it on my lowest setting so you can see what we got here, and then we're going to go ahead and get this unit out and we'll test it out. Ooh, passed. We're going to make sure it actually passes. Alright, so here you can see what this sending unit looks like. Got a plastic float. I think it's a brass one that's currently in the vehicle, which I guess I'll just leave it with the plastic on there. I don't think there's going to be any problem with it. But simply when it's in the vehicle, obviously this going up and down is going to create resistance, and that is going to be read by the gauge. So that's what we want to test, is what we're going to get out of that. So let's get ourselves set up here. Going to throw ground onto the body. Our positive right up here. And what I'm going to do is I am going to, I can't lay it upside down, I'll have to lay it like this. There we go. Alright, so we're going to put this so that you can see the reading. Hopefully that'll work there. And then we'll see what we get. We should see this number dropping. And that is what's going to be read by our fuel gauge. So it appears that everything is working. So there we go. So the first thing we got to do is we have two bolts that are holding the seat in. We'll have to remove that so that we can access the top of the fuel tank. Apparently I believe in finger tight when I do testing on vehicles. That was not tight at all. Okay. Yeah, I love the simplicity of these. Something from the 50s. Oh, let's just use some Phillips headed screws for holding in the sending unit. Alright, that one there is a little bit stripped. I might have to use a little bit larger one to get into that. These are nicely machined screws. So I have two screws that are a little rounded off. So we're just going to use a pair of vice grips and see if we can get them out of there. I get a rag here because this is going to be dripping. Video from a little while back, I had pulled this out before to test it to see what was going on, and that's when I determined that the guts in here had completely rotted away. So we knew at that point we were going to need a new unit. Alright, just going to set that out of the way. Now, as you can see, this does have the brass canister. I could put that on to kind of, in my opinion, retain a little bit of originality, but it's inside the tank. No one's going to see anything. So I'm going to assume that this plastic is fuel rated. Obviously they wouldn't be using it if it wasn't. So we're just going to leave it as it is. We're going to set our gasket in place. Fish our unit on down. Let's see if everything's going to line up here. If I have this oriented in the right direction. I don't like how that feels like it's hitting. There we go. Felt like I was pushing it down on the bottom. I didn't like that. Alright, let's just check our gasket. Because if the gasket is true, then we'll use that as our template. Okay, what I found was if I shift this gasket around, I can actually get it to line up. So it may be that I just had it oriented at the wrong spot. So what I want to do is make a mark so I know which way this gasket is facing on here that it fits, and then rotate it on the tank until I have the gasket fit, make a mark, and then line everything up. Okay. I think I have it right on the bat here. That lines up, that lines up. Yep, everything lines up there. So here's where my mark needs to be. All right. All right, now we can put this together. Before I tighten down this last screw, what I want to end up doing is I want to connect this and do a test to make sure my gauge is working, because I want to make sure that it actually has a good ground in this system. And if not, then I'm going to make a wire here, a ground wire that I'll connect under this screw and run it back to the tank mount. I may end up just doing that anyway, but I want to test it just to see how it works out. All right, so I just have the wire just attached there, so we can just do a test. And we're going to take a look at that gauge, turn our key on, and we'll see if we have movement. Look at that. I still think I'm going to go ahead and put a ground wire on. Oh, look at that. It bumped around. What was that all about? Let's just watch it there, because I know it's not a full tank in it. All right, very good. Now, was that just a loose wire? It had bumped there. I don't know what that was all about. Okay, guess we're all right then. We'll turn that back off, and there it drops. Very good. I'm still going to put a ground wire on it, though. So we're going to go ahead and make a ground wire here. Just happen to have this older piece that I'm going to just reuse. And I've covered a lot of soldering before in my other videos when I did the wiring on the Jeep. So if you'd like to see that, just go ahead and check the link there, and that'll show you the complete wiring. But in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and prep this piece. I know this isn't the best loom, but I figure I'm going to cover this wire at least temporarily until I get a better cloth covered cover for this, which I can always do later. I thought that would fit through that hole. Okay, let's do another check. There we go. Alright, I'm satisfied that works. Just thought I'd show you here. This is what I wound up doing. I just used some plastic loom and hid that wire just for now. And eventually I'll get some of the nice cloth tarred covers that look a little bit more vintage to cover that up. Alright, there's all welded up. Had to come up and around the top too. There was some fine cracks there that I saw. So we're ready to put the seat back in. Better than finger tight this time. So in a previous video I had shown my speedometer's not working, and I do have engagement in here, but it's so loose it's probably part of my problem. It's got to be. The problem is I cannot get this any tighter because it's hitting that bolt right there. So I'm gonna have to see how I have this rigged up and see what else I can do. No, I guess I couldn't. I was thinking about putting some sort of washer or something in there to help to bring that down. You can see that. That should be engaged, but maybe it's not. Let's see what we can do. All right, let's do a test here. That's good positive engagement there. Is I simply just put a screw in the end. That way I have control over that. Oh wow, now that I'm turning this, I think the teeth are ground off of this. See, I can feel there's one right there that's actually gonna grab. I got a feeling that's what our problem is. Yeah, I can spin this. So that's the problem. That gear is bad. See, now there it just stops, so it's that one that's a little bit longer. So that's what my problem is. So it was an engagement, although I need to work on that. It's actually, this gear is bad, and I can see it's tapered pretty bad. All right, so I guess I gotta see if that's something I can order or not.